Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be checking out these two Amiga 500s. So I've got two Amiga 500s here. The top one I picked up locally from another collector. He said it didn't work. He'd spent some time trying to fix it but couldn't figure it out. So maybe I can. He also provided a power supply and a video out device. So the Amiga 500s have a weirdish video connector. This is the Amiga 520. It takes the Amiga video and turns it into either composite out or RF out, and you can select channel 3 or 4. I'll be using, of course, my little portable TV here that I got at Goodwill that I use all the time, and I think we'll be using composite as opposed to RF, though my TV does support both. He also included a mouse, but unfortunately it looks like something happened to this mouse and we'll need to do a little bit of repair if we can even get these machines working. The second Amiga at the bottom I got from somebody in one of the collector groups. It is known to be bad. It's missing a bunch of the most important chips, but it was a good deal and I thought maybe I could use it for parts. It's also missing a key, I think F1 or something. What's it missing here? F2. So I went ahead and picked it up. I haven't looked at this thing yet, so I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if I needed this one for parts, but I saw it come up for sale and I said, well, I probably should get around to looking at this Amiga, and hey, here's a parts machine. Maybe I could use it. Alright, well, I think the first thing I'm going to do is try to power on the one that's bad to see if we can confirm that it is bad. Maybe we'll get lucky and it will just work. Though that has happened, it is rare. Alright, let me move the camera over and we'll start taking a look at these Amigas. Alright, so we have our Amigas here. We'll go ahead and move the mouse out of the way for now. We'll need this, and we'll need the power. So let's get the parts Amiga out of the way here. The parts one missing a floppy drive. Case is kind of cracked in places. It feels like it's just kind of falling apart. But hey, a parts machine is a parts machine. So we'll take it apart later, see what's inside, see which chips are missing. And then here we have the bad Amiga. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in video. So we do video out, and I have that connected as red. And then on the back of the Amiga we have mono out, so I'll plug that into the other one. And then I'll plug in the Amiga 520 video converter. Put our TV up here, and we'll plug in power, make sure it's off. It is. Alright, so let's turn our TV on. Alright, we'll make sure we're set to AV, and we are. Alright, so let's flip the Amiga on and see what happens. Alright, you just got a gray screen and some buzzing out of the audio. Power light is flashing red. So it probably is not a good sign. Alright, well, confirmed bad. So let's get it apart and see what the inside looks like. Now, I'm not super familiar with Amiga 500 repair. I know I used an Amiga of some sort as a kid. My aunt had an Amiga. Alright, it looks like it takes Torx. Let's see if we can find the right Torx bit here. Yeah, my aunt had an Amiga, and I had no idea what an Amiga was at the time, and I thought to myself, wow, this Macintosh looks kind of weird. But no, it was a Amiga. There we go. There's the right bit. So it looks like we've got a couple of screws here. Set these off to the side. Get the magnet. Pull out the screws. And, I've watched Adrian Black work on a number of Amigas, so I guess that's probably where most of my experience with these comes from. Having not worked on one myself ever. Alright, I think that's it. I don't see any more screws. Oh no, there's one in here. And oddly enough, this one is a Phillips. Alright, so we have mostly Torx and one Phillips. I'm going to go ahead and guess that means somebody has taken this apart before. Alright, now I think that is it, at least on the bottom, and I don't see any screws on the back. So I suspect, it looks like the top board comes off, or the top case comes off somehow. I don't know, these old plastics can be brittle. I don't know if Amigas suffer from the brittle plastic syndrome. Sounds like it's stuck over here. I miss a screw. I don't see any. Well, it looks like there should have been 3 screws in the back here too that aren't installed. So somebody definitely has been in here before. Alright, so how do we get this off without breaking it? There we go. Alright, and we have a keyboard and a giant RF shield. So let's take the keyboard out. Nope, and it's grounded. Does that just slide out? It does. And can we disconnect this safely? I think we can. Alright, so we can take the keyboard out, set that off to the side, put that down here. Now we have this RF shield to deal with. Looks like it's also Torx. Hopefully it's the same size. It is. See at least 3 screws. It looks like there should be a 4th that's missing. Somebody took this RF shield off and didn't put it back right. Is that it for screws? I think so. So it should just come off. Oh, there's metal tabs too. Okay. Bend those up, I think. Yes. So we've got 2 here. It looks like maybe there was another one that was supposed to be here that's gone, broken and missing. Alright, and with those 3, I think that's it. Is that going to come up? There we go. RF shield is off. Alright, so this is a look at our board. That looks nice and clean. That's good. There's some writing on it, it looks like. So it looks like all the chips are here. The even CIA, odd CIA, Denise, Paula, Gary, Fat Angus, CPU, which is a 68,000. The ROM, and I believe this is all the RAM. I've got a couple of capacitors here. They all look like they're okay. And then this. So I believe this is memory expansion and real-time clock. Oh, I think that might be the problem. I can see some green crusties here on these connectors. So I remember from Adrian's videos that, yeah, there is a battery in here and it leaks. And it looks like this one has done that. Well, if that's the problem, how do we get this off? There's a door in the back here. How does this open? It's like a slot. Doesn't sound good. There we go. Okay, and then this just should pull back, right? Yes. Okay. So I believe this was an optional expansion, and it is entombed in this metal cage and soldered shut. That's fun. I think we can cut the tabs here to get into it without having to try to get all this solder off. see if I can do that. That's one. And two. Ah, yes. There we go. Oh, and there's one up here we need to cut as well, it looks like. Maybe we can just bend it. There we go. All right. Okay. Well, we have a Varda battery, and it is leaked. It is leaking goo all over this board, causing corrosion. So I'm guessing that is not ideal. Let's see how the bottom of this board looks, if we can get it off. Yeah, there's some things that have leaked here on the bottom as well. And then we have corrosion on these pins here. Let me see if I can clean that up quickly. Now, we shouldn't, since this is an optional board, we shouldn't need it to boot the system. And if the board's, if this board's bad, this should continue to function. There might be some potential like trace damage in this area, but I guess if this is just the expansion header, it'll probably still work without that being fixed. And I can't quite tell if there is trace damage. It looks like there might be a little hard to tell. But we can test that pretty easily, it looks like. Always get this green crystallized stuff off, since we certainly don't need to have that on there. Not going to help matters. All right, let's see if any of these traces are broken. So I got the meter in continuity mode, I think. Nope. Oh, I do. All right. Right, so the traces I'm concerned with are the ones right around this area. So it looks like this might be a break. It looks like there's like a blackened area here, which might be a break. You can still see some of the green stuff on here. Didn't quite get it all off. And here as well. But let's check out these traces and see if they actually do connect to where they need to connect to. Oh, and there's some more black here as well. So if these traces are bad, this should be pretty easy to repair. Let's try them out. So the first one we want to check goes from here, and then it goes under the silk screen, and I can't exactly see where it goes, but I think it goes to this pin here. So this goes right to the expansion port. All right, that one's good. This one goes right to the expansion port too, but I don't know where it goes. It goes under this chip. It probably connects to one of these. Yeah, and there's green goo, not goo, but green crusties on the actual solder pad itself. Let's check this one. This one goes from here down to here. That one's good. Let's check this one. That one's good. All right, so actually it seems like maybe there isn't actual damage to the board. It's just like black stuff that's on these traces, though it could be underneath and could cause us a problem in the future. So I might want to scrape that off and see what's going on underneath, but I'm not sure, because you know these black areas here, I don't see those on any other part of the board. Can we test this one out? Let's test this one out. But yeah, for right now, they're all still working, so I think we're good. All right, so let's try to power it up again without this board being installed, because there's definitely a problem with this board, and these connector pins. There could be some issues here as well. So it looks like everything else is okay. I don't see any damage anywhere. Now, I would imagine the person that was working on this would have taken this out, you'd think, to test the machine. But do you think if they would have taken it out, they would have noticed the leak? I don't know. All right, let's just try it and see what happens. We'll get the TV back. We'll plug in the video adapter. Plug in the sound. Plug in the power. All right, so let's hit the switch and see what we get. All right, well, that looks like it's working to me. And I hear the floppy trying to find a disk to boot. Okay, well, that was a simple fix. Now, it would be nice if this board worked. So maybe we can clean this up and get this going. But overall, the machine does seem to work. So that's pretty cool. All right, well, let's switch it off. Slide it back a little bit. All right, so on this board, we want to remove this battery because it is toast, leaking. It's Varda branded, Varda known for leaking. I guess I'll just snip the whole thing off because they spot weld the connectors on. It's not easy to get these off. There we go. Yeah, so this battery is gross, disgusting, and leaking. So I'll put it in my collection of gross, disgusting, and leaking batteries. There we go. That's not the whole collection, by the way. I've got several tins of gross, disgusting, leaking batteries. Yeah. Why do I save them? I don't know. Just fun, I guess. But I keep them far away from any electronics and in their own little plastic tubs. All right, so with that gone, we can inspect the damage. And it looks like this capacitor is probably okay, but the pads may not be. And there's definitely some damage here on this resistor pack, RP981. So what I want to do with this is soak this in vinegar and see if we can get this stuff to dissolve. So the battery is alkaline, vinegar is acidic. The vinegar should neutralize the alkalinity, and then we can clean it up and see if we can get this thing working. All right, so I've got some just distilled white vinegar. I got the card here. Let's go ahead and pour enough in to cover it. All right, and then we're just gonna let that soak for, I don't know, half an hour to an hour. All right, so it's been soaking actually now for about, I don't know, 6 hours, 5.5 hours. You can see there's some white stuff forming around some of the areas where there probably was damage. So I'm gonna use my standard toothbrush to clean that off, and then I'm gonna rinse it with water and then flush it with isopropanol to try to speed up the drying process. All right, so it's been a little bit, but we're back. So you may notice I have my parts machine now here. As you can see, it's missing the Denise chip, the odd CIA, the even CIA, and the ROM. But we have, it looks like, all the rest of the chips and RAM, and it looks like the board's in pretty good shape. Oddly enough, it's a different color board. This one's got, I guess, a different color of mask over the traces and whatnot. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. What I could do is take the two CIA chips, the Denise chip, and the ROM from this machine, put them here, and see if this machine works. So this is a parts machine. I'm guessing someone took the parts out for a reason. The reason being this machine didn't work with them in there, and they needed them for something else. Now, it could be that it was because of the keyboard. You know, like, I don't know if I showed it or not, but like I think I did show it. I did mention the escape key is kind of messed up. It's missing F2. Maybe someone said, oh, well, you know, I need parts. I'm just going to grab them out of this machine with the broken keyboard. It's possible. Also, you know, the case of this one is messed up and broken and just kind of not in the best shape. So we'll take the even CIA, which came out very nicely. And we'll take the odd CIA, which also came out nicely. We need Denise. Denise is going to be a little trickier to get out, I think. Oh boy. Alright. We'll just carefully pin those pins back. It's fine. Everything's fine. Not up. We'll put this back in the correct way. Make sure none of those pins bend under or over. That's good. And then we just need our ROM. Hopefully it's a little easier to get out than the other ones. Yes, it was. Alright, so I'm just going to double check to make sure I have these all in the correct way. Interesting, this one has a 68,000 that's not made by Motorola. This one has the original Motorola 68,000. And my guess here is it's not going to work since this was a parts machine. I thought it would be worth a try. Well, I think we're ready to go. See what happens. Okay, we're getting a white screen, which is different than gray. Oh, interesting. Seems like it kind of works. It's having some video issues though, so there's a problem here. Oh, we're missing this chip as well. I'm surprised it turned on at all. Oh, and I can't take that one out because it's soldered in on this board, not soldered in here. And that's a I don't know, M74HC245N. That's a 74HC245N. 74HC245N. Yeah, I should be able to get one of those. I don't believe I have any on hand, though. Alright, so as you saw, the good Amiga seems to be working. All we had to do was take out the expansion board. So I don't have this working yet, but not necessary to make the Amiga 500 run. So maybe in a future video I'll take a look at this one. It doesn't seem like it's too complex. It's mostly just RAM, a couple of resistor packs, a couple of capacitors, and then the battery and the clock chip. So maybe there's some bad traces or something, but I think we can take a look at this one in a future video. So looking at the parts Amiga, I ordered 2 CIA chips, which I've installed here. They're pretty cheap. I think $10 for the pair or something. Then I ordered the Denise chip, which was a little more expensive. I don't know. I think it was maybe also like $10 for one, but it wasn't too bad. It seems like they can be pricey. The only thing I was missing was the ROM. So I did order some UV EPROMs that I can potentially program Kickstart 1.3 on. Now, this is an Amiga Rev 5 board, as is the other one, which is lucky. so I could take the ROM out of that one, put it in here. Oh, I also got the 74 HC 245N installed. I got a replacement because this one was missing one of those. So that's all good. So when I power it on, we get the gray screen. And then we get the insert workbench icon. So this machine also fully working as long as I have the ROM from the good machine in it. So I spent a lot of the last week and a half learning a lot about Amiga 500s and just kind of Amigas in general. You know, of course I wanted to be able to get these things to boot, but it turns out you can't make floppies for them on any sort of Mac or PC. You need a grease weasel device to do it, really, I guess, if you're going to do it. And then I looked into modifying a Gotek. I happen to have a Gotek. I got it over here. So I spent a much time trying to modify this Gotek to work with an Amiga, which in theory is possible, but apparently I have a version that just doesn't quite work. I was able to unlock it and flash the firmware, but it just doesn't do anything when I plug it in. It's still fine. You know, I can reflash the firmware, I can reprogram it. I can connect it to my Windows PC through USB, through a serial connection. I actually soldered some pin headers on it so I could make that easier, but just couldn't get it working. So we'll have to figure this out in the future. I guess buy another Gotek and hope I get one that's not the same model. It seems like there's a lot of different Goteks. There's some that use DST chips, which this one does. And there's another type of chip that's used as well. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get this one working. Not a huge problem. I also took a look at what it takes to burn ROMs for this. So the Rev 5, I guess, is sort of a special Amiga 500. Rev 6 and Rev 4 do things much differently. Rev 5 is kind of a unique species of Amiga 500 in terms of the ROM. So getting ROMs for this one, that's why they're taking so long to get here. I had to order them from China because they're super rare and they're very expensive unless you can, you know, find a supplier in China that's pulling them out of junk boards and selling them for cheap, which is what I did. But yeah, so I think basically I have two working Amiga 500s with one ROM to share between them, but I also only have one power supply and one video adapter for them. So not the worst thing in the world, but I think we're going to wrap this one up here. I'd like to get back to these. I want to get a Gotek working in at least one of them. It really seems like the floppy drive works just fine because I, you know, put a floppy in there. I can see that it accesses it. I can see that it reads it, and then I can see that it rejects it. So the floppy is probably okay. I don't have a floppy disk to test it. Once I get a Gotek, I can potentially make one. But as for now, I don't really have any way to boot these things up. Just, you know, past the, hey, let's put a disk in screen. So anyway, that's, I guess, part one of my Amiga 500 videos. Like I said, I had been an Amiga novice, and I feel much more educated now, so hopefully part two, we'll get into some real good details about them and what makes them tick. And I have a lot of interesting stories to share about using ChatGPT to try to do some of this work for me. And when it comes to troubleshooting old computers, don't trust ChatGPT. That's my advice. All right, anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in part two.
Hi guys, make sure to like and subscribe and watch more of our videos later. Bye!